My name is Morgan Young, and I am the site coordinator to the Southern Alleghenies Museum of Art in Bedford. And I'd like to welcome you back to another segment of our Art Hour, the crafting that we're doing together. So thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to be doing a drawing of a puppy. And we have an instructor. Her name is Miss Linda Calloway, and I'm going to introduce her here in a moment. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about the rest of the week's schedule, and I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to log on, to hit view and live, and come join us. Maybe gather your supplies and materials, whatever you might need. Okay, so today we're going to be working on that drawing of a dog. It's going to be a drawing lesson. So you're going to need some markers, you're going to need some paper, possibly a pencil if you prefer to draw on a pencil, and a ruler. If you happen to have a ruler handy, that's going to help you today. Tomorrow's schedule, just to give you a little information, and I'm going to repeat all of this at the very end of everything. Wednesday, March 25th, we're going to be working on some paper mache. So it could be a little messy. You might want to get prepared for that now. And it'll be from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. again, same time. We are going to be filming in Mary Pat Bean's studio at Pigeon Hill. So you definitely want to tune in for that. You want to watch that. Her studio, if you have not been there already, it's a beautiful space. It's really gorgeous. And Mary Pat Bean will be the instructor as well. So that's also something you don't want to miss. She's an incredibly talented woman who knows what she's doing. So come join us with some paper mache tomorrow. The rest of the week will be Thursday. Will be a drawing of a bunny with Miss Linda again. And Friday will be a colorful collage with Miss Jen Judd. And that is going to be really fun. Everyone should tune in for that. That's going to be a blast. Friday night, we're going to host our adult hour, which will be a bit more of an advanced painting session with Miss Linda. And it will be, the subject matter will be a painting of a flower box, and that's from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you happen to grab a glass of wine during that hour, could be, get those creative juices going, could be nice. So that's the rest of the schedule for this week. Again, I'll announce it at the very end of our session today. And I might be chiming in a little bit. I have this book of Bob Ross, Happy Little Accidents, and he has these great quotes, and I wanted to share some of these with you. So today, this quote stood out to me today. Sometimes you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your masterpieces. And I just think that that is something that we all should think about. That's a great concept, that sometimes mistakes are a learning tool. So whatever you do today, it's perfect, it's exactly the way it should be, and it's beautiful, and it's unique to you. Without further ado, I'm gonna introduce Miss Linda, and I am going to step out of the frame because we're still trying to be respectful and mindful of the social distancing. So Miss Linda Calloway, come on over.
Applause, applause. I need to get that.
Hi. I want the focus today to be on the artwork, and so I thought I'd come in frame just so that you could see who's talking. I taught public school K through 12 for 30 years, so I know a little bit about art and I know a little bit about kids. I also have a paint party business, the Flying Pig Paint Parties with Linda on Facebook. I will be doing some more free lessons on that channel, but I don't have a schedule yet. If I have an email, I can give you a notice. So without further ado, I want to ask somebody, did they do their homework last night?
That's a good question. That's a very good question, Miss Linda.
The homework was to go outside and look for signs of spring. I didn't do it. I think there may be a dandelion or two coming up in my yard, and leave those for the birds.
That's true.
And the bees. Leave them for the bees.
The bees definitely need it.
They come and they get the pollen. Okay, it's going to take a minute to get my area in frame.
Okay, no problem. As we make that transition, just kind of bear with us, guys. The cameras just has to be readjusted, but you'll have a better view of what Linda's doing. While he's doing that, I actually did do my homework yesterday, and I noticed that there are some trees that are starting to bud. That green citrine color is so vibrant. It's not fully out yet, but it's hinting that in a couple of, maybe a week or so, with so much color. I mean, it is coming, and I can't wait. We definitely need some color and some vibrancy in the landscape area. Okay, how are we there? Good? Ready to go? Okay, so hopefully everybody has had a chance to gather their materials and the things that they need to join Miss Linda as she guides you through drawing this puppy. And as you can see, there in the frame, the puppy, who's kind of in a way pointing to like that little flower that we did yesterday. You know, that's where we're aiming towards. That's what you're going to draw. That's what you're going to be able to do. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Miss Linda. And if you don't happen to have your things gathered just yet, that's okay. So with live streaming, you're able to watch this even after we're done live streaming. You can still stay on Sam's Facebook, Sama Bedford's Facebook, and watch this segment. So, okay, Miss Linda, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you.
Okay, I happen to have a few toys. This is a German Shepherd. Very realistic looking. It's a toy. You know what this is. Very realistic looking poodle. We're going to be doing something more like this. This is more cartoon-like. You can still see that it's a dog, but that's the style we're going to have. Not realistic, more cartoonish. Now, this is a completed drawing. It's not colored, but it's got a lot of detail in it. Don't worry about that. We're going to do it step by step. In fact, I'm going to put this out of frame where you can't even see it, and we're going to have a blank piece of paper. This is copy paper. If you have cardstock, that works well too, but don't worry about it. The first thing we're going to draw is a head. We're going to practice it. So I'm going to trace. Now, the thing I find most young artists do, and I'm talking young at heart, 4 or 40 or 80, is they draw too small. I like drawing large, so I'm tracing where my head's going to go. And heads have all sorts of shapes. I'm going to make this one circular, roundish. Does it have to be a perfect circle? No. If you have to have a perfect circle, go get a saucer or a small plate and trace it. I'm not going to do that. Another thing you can do to practice is use your eraser. You probably can't see this from where you are, but I can see the crumbles of the eraser where I drew it with that. Now I'm going to draw it in fairly lightly. I don't even know if that's dark enough for you to see.
I was going to say, can you move a little towards me, Miss Linda, with the paper
Sure.
and everything?
Okay.
And that would be perfect. We can see a little bit better.
I'm going to draw in Sharpie marker because that shows up so well. Now, mine happens to be a really good circle, but watch when I trace it. I am going to go around it slowly. Now, I don't like to say mistakes, but sometimes you're not happy with the lines you make. Now, see, I didn't do that perfectly. That's totally okay. But now you can see it much better. I'm going to take the pencil and find the middle of this circle and put a little dot. The reason I'm going to do that is because Walt Disney discovered years ago that if you make the face low on the head, it looks younger and it's more attractive. Think of all the cartoons that you see. They're very cute. So I'm going to draw this dog's nose in a rounded triangle. Now I'm going to go ahead and color mine in. You don't need to do this. If you're going to use marker, you don't need to color it in with your pencil. I just want you to be able to see it. I left a white dot. So when things are wet or shiny, a lot of times there is a area of reflection. Straight down, around, sometimes we call this a W, and that's the muzzle of the dog. It's hard to draw that on a flat sheet of paper, but this is a good way to show it. What are those little things? Dogs have whiskers too, but it's not like cats. They're not these long, whiskers. They're short and stubby, so that's another way to show it. Now, I'm not ready to draw the rest of the dog. Oh, my little dot didn't go away. I am going to go to this piece of paper right here. When you get caught up right here, put your pencil down. Don't draw your eyes yet. Don't draw your ears yet, because I want to give you options. An option is a choice. Now, the reason I have 4 little faces, that's the same thing, only it's more of an oval instead of a circle. That's fine. The reason I did this is to give you options. So here's a choice that you can make. There's a little button eye, and I left a little white dot in there. Those are cute eyes. These are cute eyes. They're closed with little eyelashes. Easy. This one, I'm flattening it on the bottom. And I'm going to have this little animal looking up. Okay. Over here, I'm going to make very large eyes and have him looking over this way. Notice I'm doing an iris and a pupil. The iris is the part that will be brown or green or orange or red or whatever color you choose. And the pupil is the dark part that changes. It goes open and closed to let in the light.
And Miss Linda, not to interrupt you, but if you combined any of the open eyes with one of the closed, it would appear like it's winking at you.
It would. And
that'd be a cute puppy.
A lot of beginning artists get very frustrated because their eyes don't match in shape. Don't worry about it. Make them as close as you can, but don't worry if one is larger than the other. And then you can do silly like this.
That's cute.
And if you need, that's the pupil. If you need the iris, you can just draw around it like that. Now, choose one or make up your own and draw you some eyes. Now, do not be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. That is, allow yourself to make marks that you're not totally happy with. And if you do that, it's easier on you. Don't worry. I have students, I give them sometimes pencils without erasers on the end of them. Then they can't do it. So whatever mark they make, they have to live with. You know, that is tough on students.
It is. It's hard. And there's no wrong answers in art. You know, it's your individuality kind of coming out. And it's just like Bob Ross was saying a little bit earlier, that you learn from those mistakes. So those marks that you make that might not seem quite right at first, they might actually pan out in the end. It might turn out okay. You just kind of have to see what happens.
My students' art does not come out like mine, but a lot of times it is much more charming than mine. I'm drawing from an adult perspective, not a child's. Now, if you're not caught up with me, I'm going to show you different ear styles. Now, this one is the little flop-eared puppy. I start with a triangle, like that, and then I come down for the flopped over ear. I like those kind of eyes. If he looks surprised, give him eyebrows way up there. My second ears are just little things like this. They can be hairy looking, they can be curly. You can make them look curly like a poodle's ears if you just scribble in there. Or you may want to color them in a solid color. A lot of times a puppy's face, muzzle, and ears are different colors. Now this one sometimes, a German Shepherd's ears, I don't know if I'm even thinking, are stand-up ears unless they've been cropped. And
yep, it's good. They've got really pointy.
They're very pointy and they stand up. Sometimes this looks like a kitty, but because of the way I drew his eyes and his large nose, doesn't look very much like a cat.
No, he's cute.
And my last option of the 4 option is the standout ears. This could be a basset hound. It could be any kind of hound, actually. And they're long and droopy. Oh, my ears don't match. Is that okay? Of course it is. Of course it is. Now, do you have to give him eyebrows? No. But you might want to try different eyebrows. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this one away. Have you made your choice? You need a choice of eyes and you need a choice of ears. Ours are not going to look the same. That's okay. I'm going to put this one to the side and I'm going to make a choice on my puppy. Oh, that's bothering me. That's that dot that was in the middle of the paper. Not a problem. I can erase it. By the way, I have cardstock and it's not coming through. But do you see how the Sharpie marker came through this paper? If you leave your Sharpie marker in one spot, it can make a dot on the table. Always put another sheet of paper underneath it to protect your table. Or you could get a trash bag and open it up and work on a plastic surface. Okay. Now, I've got to make the choice of his eyes and his ears. I love those flopped over ears. So I'm starting with the triangle and coming down. Is my head large? Yes, it is. Well, my puppy's head. And I love big, silly eyes. Because this one is a cartoon. Oh, that one's funny looking. I don't care. Let's have him looking down. Maybe we could draw something down here. What is that puppy looking at? We don't know. So I'm going to draw his eyes going down. And I could straighten up that little line I didn't like a little bit doing that. Oh, what did I give him? All right. I didn't show you what to do on the mouth right in here, but you can do something like this, which shows his lower lip. Now, I'm going to pre-practice. I'm going to draw a body. This puppy is going to have a larger head than his body. I only want his body to be a semicircle. That is like a flattened circle. If I make it a perfect circle, it doesn't look like he has a neck. Notice how this puppy's head, his neck doesn't show. So I'm going to use my pencil again and come in here. I'm leaving room for legs. You don't have to. You can even make your body a little smaller than that. I'm going to get rid of that and think of what I'm going to do in here. I'm going to do it like this. It's little. Now, I have a smaller marker. You may not. But I'm going to use this one. Why am I doing it scratchy? Do you have any idea why I'm doing this? I want him to look like he's hairy. So you can put a few scratches. If I did it with the fat marker, it doesn't look quite as good. And I'm going to come in here and do the inside of the ear. That's usually a little bit different color, darker or lighter. Now, when we're drawing limbs on animals, we tend to come down here in the middle and draw one line. Let's don't do that. Come up here. I know you can't see my shoulders. Maybe if I come in, my shoulders are up close to my head. I'm going to come in here and come out with his hand. So let me show you. I'm going to come out with his hand, and I need another line because arms have volume. They take up space. They're not one line. And I am going to give him a funny little paw. Because his hand is out like this where you can see his palm, I'm going to put some little circles. That's the little, what do you call that?
Paw pads.
Paw pads, yeah. You can color them in if you want, or you can leave them fine. But notice my arm is up close to its head. I've got his arms extended out. I'm going to do something with this. A bone comes out this way and goes down. We can change it. This is our drawing, and a lot of children and some adults do this. I've got him with his arm more rounded. That makes a good drawing. You don't have to worry about it. In this completed drawing, I've got the arm the same way. I think he's more charming than the one I spent more time on. My little puppy dancing around. Remember, not one line, but 2 lines for the leg. And look at his big old paw. Puppies' paws are bigger than adult dogs' paws. They have to grow into them. And I've got this one around here. I'm going to make this one coming more straight to support him. And another thing I like to do is show their knees and elbows. Now I'm going fast. I may have to just talk a little bit and slow down. I like these little lines that show where their knees and elbows. Do you have to add them? No.
Maybe what you could do is hold that up a little closer to the camera so we can see the marks that you just made, Linda. Yeah, right there on the elbows and the knees, you have almost, what would you call, a spiral?
A little spiral.
Or like the letter G, or the letter...
a 6 or a backward 6?
A 6 or a backward 6. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, and it just gives that little indicator that there's a joint there, that's where the puppy's knees or elbows bend. That's great.
Now, I drew my example with the ruler. I didn't have my ruler when I was packing up to come here. I couldn't find it. I took a piece of scrap paper, and this isn't good paper, but it could be. I tried to print this faces off, and my printer was skipping, and I had new ink, but this is now a straight edge. I folded it several times, and I'm going to set it down here on the edge to give a border. You may need an adult to help you. I'm going to go all the way across. Now, do you see where it went over? You probably don't.
Can you just hold that up to the camera there? And while you're doing that, I'm going to say, hello, Amina. She says hello. We're saying hello back to Amina. Hi.
Notice it goes over the legs. I'm not going to trace over that. I am just going to trace over this. And you can put the straight edge back, or you can freehand it. I'm going to try freehanding it. It's straight-ish. Now, when I come to the feet, I'm skipping over it. Now, I love these borders. I don't know why. I like to put them on it. I have some examples to show you. So I will make more. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm putting this right at the edge of the paper. Put my lid on my Sharpie, set it down. And I'm putting this straight edge on the edge of the paper. I'm holding it down. When you're trying to use a ruler, you have to hold it down. Maybe the adult in the room can help you. Do I want to trace over this where it crosses with my puppy? No. So either you can erase them or just skip over it when you're putting it together. We don't want it to cross over his arm. We don't want it to cross over his ears. Now, we will get a little square in the corner. This little square in the corner can help on your border.
That's years of practice right there, Miss Linda, that straight line that you're freehanding. That is very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's easier. Now, on this one, I didn't do the square in the corner. I erased it. So you don't have to put the square in the corner. I'm doing it this time because it's easier. When I was doing an example like this in class, I would make my students bring it to me, and I would use the ruler and make the border. Now, let's talk about the border. You know what? He needs a belly button. Just a little belly button. Now, this puppy doesn't have a tail because he's looking straight at you. His tail is on the opposite side of that belly button. No, it's not. But this is where his tail would be. Right in here. A little fluffy tail would be right there, and we can't see it. Sometimes I draw a little bit of a tail showing, suggesting that the tail is longer. Sometimes I put clothes on my animals. I enjoy doing that. I've got some examples to show you with that. So we're going to put something in the border. I did what in this one? Yeah, flowers. I liked Sharon's example yesterday. I watched it too. But they're not even hard. Let me show you how to draw a flower if that's what you want to put in your border. I always start with a circle, and then I put a petal, and I usually do 5. You can do more. If you do less than 5, it looks like a 4-leaf clover. And if you want to put dots in the center, you can. Leaves are really easy. That's a leaf. You can put the other lines on there, but you don't have to. Flowers are very easy. On one of mine, I decided that I needed paw prints. And I'm looking for it. There it is. Look what I did to that circle. I made it tilt. Do your dog ever turn its head to look at you? All the time. Especially they look puzzled. They turn their head and look at you and look puzzled. I put paw prints all over here. Paw prints are very, very easy too. It's a circle and 3 little circles. Works fine. Is that too shiny in there?
Nope, it looks pretty good from here. You could hold it maybe a teensy bit closer. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
this is a page protector. I can get 2 drawings in here. I buy those at the office supply. You can even get them at Walmart when we're allowed to get out and shop again. But the page protector keeps my drawings clear. You can tell this is an original drawing, not a copy, because the Sharpie marker came through. Do you see that? I make copies of these drawings. That's another way to, when you're using a Sharpie, that you can color on it and it doesn't bleed. If you make copies of it, you can color them over and over again. Now, I'm going to do a zigzag in this border. I'm just going to go from this corner down, zigzag up and down, because it's easy and I like the pattern. Notice how I drew around the hand, and I am just zigzagging like this. But that's not a double line. I'm going to come back and make it a double line so that I can color it in. And it's going to be more interesting that way. Do you have to do a zigzag pattern? No. You can if you want. I would continue that all around. Let me think. I'm trying to do it just like that one. There. Now, will this be even? Maybe, maybe not. I don't care. I'm going to do it the best way I can and not worry about it. It is more interesting if you put something in the border. You don't have to, but it is what? More interesting if you put something in the border. Now, I can do this bottom border and the top border the same, or I can change it up. Right now I'm not going to do anything to it, but I'll probably come back to it and do something. Now I'm going to show you, what's the time now, Miss Morgan?
It is 1:30 on the dot.
Okay. I am going to show you something about coloring it. If you have done yours in Sharpie, you can color it anything you want and it's fine. If you did it with this, is a poster marker. It is water-based. That's the kind my daughter likes. By the way, I want to shout out to Erin, my daughter. I want to shout out to Jackson, my grandson, and Mazzy, my granddaughter. They're supposed to be watching.
They are.
Hello, Jackson and Mazzy.
Yep, they're here.
This is a water-based marker. The reason we don't use this and color over it is I had one started here and now I don't see it. Da-da-da-da.
We'll find it here.
There it is.
There it
I
is.
covered it up. This side is Sharpie. This side is Crayola marker. Now, I will go ahead and do another one right here. You saw me do this with Sharpie. And this is why we do not use the black Crayola marker. When I start to color over the Sharpie, look at this. It's not smearing, it's coloring well. I like what it's doing.
I'm going to have you hold that up as soon as you're done, Miss Linda.
Okay, notice that it doesn't smear, it looks good. And I'm coloring over these flowers because this is a shortcut. It's an example from an art teacher, so listen carefully. That's a shortcut because we normally color.
Down a little. Hold it down a little. There you go. And closer
We
to you.
normally color the centers of flowers yellow. Well, why not color the whole thing? Notice that I do short overlapping strokes. They're short and they overlap. And we can color this whole border in yellow. I usually do the same border all the way around. Now look what happens when I color over these that were done with this marker. What happens? Look what happens. It gets all smeary looking. And my marker gets a black spot on it. I can get the black spot off by coloring and doing that sometimes. But it smears quite a bit. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, we can see that the flower on the left hand side is definitely, it's almost looking green because
Yes.
that the black water-based marker underneath kind of bled into it, and the Sharpie stayed nice and crisp and bright, and that's on the right hand side.
The fix for that is you can still use that water-based marker, but color it before you use the this marker should be the last thing you use. Now, I can take, oh, that's not pink, just a minute. I can take a pink and color in this flower. And it's still not smearing because it's Sharpie. It's not quite the same because it's coloring over the yellow, but it works. Now, the same thing over here. If I color in with this beautiful pink color, and then I color over it with yellow, oh my goodness, it's messing up my yellow marker.
Uh-oh.
And it's messing up the thing. So, if you, and my marker, if you want to keep your markers nice, color with the lightest color first, and then the last step you can do is color over it with this water-based marker. And I can do all of these colors before I use the black marker, and it doesn't smear. So this would be the last color you do. Now, you're going to have to make some decisions on your border, what you're going to do. You're going to have to make some decisions of the order you use your markers. You don't have to worry if it's Sharpie. If it's not Sharpie, the black is the last color you use. Repeat. The black is the last color you use if it's water-based. Or you get a mess. If you want your border to be a dark color, you're going to have to color all your color first and then go around it. It will take a lot more time, but it's okay. What's going to happen? I've got this yellow. If I put blue on it, you want to make a guess? Yellow plus blue equals green. Oh, this is such a dark blue. It's hard to see. And oh, it's one of those that are kind of losing its oomph. That happens. You will get a green, but it's still okay. See, it's blue right here, a dry blue.
Yeah, it looks like a dark teal where you've colored over the yellow.
You know what happens? If you have rubbing alcohol, you can put a drop or two and rejuvenate your markers for just a little bit. A trick from an old teacher. Now, most people, when they're coloring in their animals, want to make it go brown or black or tan. I've got a brown. This is not my good one. This is my practice one. Look what happens when we color in brown. Look how dark that is. It works. Notice I'm doing short overlapping strokes, and it's much neater when you do that. But we're losing a lot of detail when we make something this dark. And if I did that to his whole face, we would lose a lot of the detail. So, what color can this dog be? Orange, pink, if you've got a light blue, not a dark blue like I was using on this. Who says you can't have an orange dog? Short, overlapping strokes. And you can color this in. Can you put polka dots on your dog?
Why not?
Can you put stripes on your dog?
Sure, why not?
Can you have him different colors?
Absolutely.
Miss Morgan is saying you can.
There's no wrong answers. Your puppy can be anything you want him to be.
Okay, I notice Care Bear is not a dog, it's a bear, but do they come in bright colors? You can do bright colors on any of these drawings if you want. Now, the muzzle of a lot of animals is lighter than the rest of the animals. So I am leaving that part uncolored, and I'm going to come in with the yellow, just to show that the muzzle of an animal is usually lighter than the rest of it. I could decide to make his ears yellow. Not a good choice if I make my border yellow, though, will it? It would blend in quite a bit. Okay. Now, I could take my time and go ahead and color this. I think what I'm going to do right now is decide what else I'm going to do with my border and use my Sharpie and fill in my border. Remember, it's just zigzags. If your zigzags don't come out perfectly, should you worry about it? No. I'm not going to worry about it. Notice that down here they ended up together. Down here they won't. So I'm not going to worry about it. Does anyone have any questions?
If you do have questions, go ahead and type them here, or have your guardian, mom, dad, parent, whoever's watching you, grandma, grandpa, have them type into us, and we can read it out loud to Miss Linda, and she can answer your questions if you do have any questions.
I'm going to do something different on this square. I'm going to change the pattern just for this square. I'm making an X in it, just to be different.
Sharon says, hello, Miss Linda.
Hello.
Sharon, your flowers are such a beautiful addition. Thank you so much.
I love these. I haven't planted daffodils, so they're not coming up in my yard. I may have to plant some.
They're a nice precursor to the rest of the colors that are sure to follow.
Okay, is this drawing getting rather complicated? It is, isn't it? But we started off with a plain circle, and we added detail. Oh, I made a mistake, but I'm going to fix it. I didn't do the X in that corner, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, in the amount of time that I have left, I could sit here and you could watch me color. That's boring. I wanted you to watch me color this because I wanted you to show what happened when you did it. Your border let's have a light color and color it in one solid color. It can be a pink, it could be orange, it could be yellow. Yellow is my favorite color because you can put almost any color over it and it doesn't change. If you want this stripe to be black, I would color in the color first and then go over it. Black will cover any other color. But I don't want you to watch me color this in. I want to give you a hint though. This space here all around the puppy should be left white. The reason it should be left white, your eye needs a resting place. You're going to choose a color for your puppy. Remember, black and brown are not the best choices because they get so dark. Blue and purple are not the best choice because they get so dark. Look at this purple when we color it in. It is so dark. It's hard to see the details. And that nice paw that we made with his paw pads on it almost disappear when we use purple. If it's your favorite color and you want to use it, I would recommend using a Crayola or using a crayon. I almost said crayon. A crayon or a colored pencil because it's lighter. I like purple. Maybe you could make a bow tie that's purple. Maybe you could dress your animal and do that purple for stripes on the shirt.
That's a good idea.
Notice that I'm going to go ahead and take these out of the protective sleeves so you can see them. Now, this looks complicated. This one does too. But wasn't it a circle on almost circle, 2 straight lines? And this was a border that we added lines to. They get complicated when you go step by step by step. This little puppy does not have any clothes on, but he has a different personality because I moved his head. That's not a puppy.
That is a ballerina bunny.
It is a ballerina bunny. And this one is buddies. What are these guys doing? What are they doing?
Your mom's watching with your friends.
There's a hint.
All 4 of them.
I have to say, I got a shout out real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but I have to say hi to Ali, Eva, Mia, and Lydia. Those are all 4 of my nieces that are watching. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. Ah, look, they got the little spirals where their knees go. Look, they got the paw pads. The reason you can see these paw pads is because their hands are turned over. And they're singing. Yes. And look how they overlap. One has his arm in front of the other. They're overlapping. I love to draw all sorts of different animals. And this one, but the nose is much smaller. Kittens and cats have much smaller noses. And look, there's things in the border. I like to have things sticking out of the border. His tail is sticking out. Cats have long tails that you can see beyond their body. And I put tennis shoes on him. I know that's silly. That one's silly too.
There we go.
Okay, those are cat eyes. I like them. Nearly all of these have borders just because I like borders. Do you have to have them on your drawings? No. Since I have time, and since I have another one of these, oh, I stuck my finger in my mouth. Erin, you did not see that.
It's okay. We got you covered with, we've got some stuff here. Yes. Hand sanitizer for all.
Okay.
We're back on track.
It's just a habit to do that. And when you're aware of it, I was aware of it because I'm trying to train myself not to touch my face and not to touch my mouth. It's hard. There we go. I knew I had another one of these. And I probably even have one with a little nose. I do. I'm going to turn these into different animals. How can I do that? What is that? It's a bunny. Okay. You know what? I can't do that with these and make a pig because that's not how I draw a pig. Notice these are cat eyes. And actually this is this shape on a cat's eyes. I don't particularly like that shape, so I'm going to round it. I'm the artist. Can I do that?
Yep.
I can. You can change things if you're the artist. I left the little, instead of the dot, I left it looking that way. But I also like to do lots of eyelashes. If you do eyelashes, come from the inside corner and make them come out. And instead of eyebrows, what do cats have up there? They have hairs like eyebrows. Notice this nose is smaller than the puppy paper that we had. Now, big old ears because cats have pointy big old ears. And a little tongue. She looks like, I say she because of all the eyelashes, she looks almost like the hairless cat, but we need to draw wrinkles all over it if we do that. Now, make a guess. You can say it out loud. I won't hear you. But what kind of animal will this be?
Teddy bear?
In my opinion, it's a teddy bear. But you may think it's something else. And I can have his mouth slightly open that way. I can have his tongue hanging out. I can make him look a little bit more hairy by making a few little lines in here. And most teddy bears have a bow on them. Oh, that's too hard to make. Yeah, it's a triangle, and a circle. All right, what should I make this one?
Any suggestions from the audience? Type them in, guys, and we'll see what if Miss Linda can turn that last circle into whatever you suggest. What do you guys think? What should that last creature be? Send us in some suggestions.
I wanted to make him a pig, but this nose is the wrong shape. Because on pigs, I usually do this. And that's already in the way.
That's a pig nose.
Yeah.
What about... What animal haven't we done yet, guys? We need a little help. What about a raccoon?
That is a wonderful idea. I'm trying to think if raccoon's ears are rounded or pointed. And I don't have my phone to look it up. I always look up things on my phone that I don't have it right here. But I know we need to do this.
I'll look it up right now.
And then if I color all that in, it's harder to see the eyes. So I am going to do this. Oh, yeah. And actually we needed to change the shape of his face a little bit. Hard to change the shape of the face when you've got that. But I am going to suggest that this is dark by kind of scribbling it in. And raccoons have brown and gray and black on their fur. But they've got little ears like this. I'm going to That looks silly with that little line, doesn't it? I am going to come back in.
It looks like he's wearing a mask, huh? That's how they look. They look like they have a mask on.
I could color that in solid, or I could make it hairy looking. His nose may be a little bit big for a raccoon, but...
They have long whiskers too.
Oh, they do, don't they? They fascinate me. When I was younger, I wanted a raccoon for a pet, but I'm glad I didn't. Another thing you can do is, instead of drawing the whole animal, this little ornery raccoon is looking over the fence. Look at him. He's peeking over the fence. And usually when you see a raccoon, you see several, because they kind of travel together.
In a group.
In a group. So, I challenge you as homework to draw another animal. The worst thing you can do is this. Oh, I can't turn this one over. Why is there a picture on the other side of this paper? Because I was using a Sharpie marker and it goes through the paper. This one doesn't so much because this is a thicker sheet of paper. This is a drawing sheet. And notice the difference in the color. This one is whiter than that one. Doesn't make any difference. But I'm going to challenge you to draw some more animals. The worst thing you could do is this. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I'm drawing too tiny.
Look at all that paper, all that drawing
Down here.
space.
Yeah, right here. You're going to have to draw an army to fill this paper up. Look at this one. One puppy fills it all the way up. One puppy. So I like, in my opinion, I like large drawings. This bunny is smaller, but she takes up the middle space. Could I add something to this drawing? Yes. I could do some kind of border. I could even have somebody peeking in. I could have a little face of the other dancer peeking in and looking at her. I could have a spider hanging out over here.
It's making her dance, the spider.
Right. I could have a little mouse over here. Maybe that's why she's doing a jig. It says there's a mouse over there. The only thing that limits you is your imagination. I encourage you to work large. Another mistake a lot of beginning drawers do is this. I'm going to make a circle, and I do this. It's not a very good circle, is it? I drew it so fast. If you want to draw it, take your time and come around. Oh, well, that one's almost perfect. But don't draw things fast. Now, I don't mean this. Just watch where you're going. Notice when I stop here, I'm looking where that ends so that I can complete the circle.
And the more you do, the better you get at it.
Yes.
So more practice. Practice makes perfect. Just keep drawing.
I can be perfectly happy sitting around with a piece of paper and a pencil. Now what did I draw?
There he is.
There's the pig.
There's that pig. He's cute.
Yeah, I drew his mouth off for here. If you want to, you can do this. Not both of them. Either that one or this one. Now, he's ready to eat what? What's he going to eat? Notice that when you change markers, it makes the lines thinner, and that's better for drawing some things. What do you think that is?
Oh, that's a pretty good ear of corn you got there.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any suggestions of what they would like to see? Because my lesson is about over. Remember, you have options, you have choices when you're doing your eyes, your nose, your ears. You do not have to do it like mine. I like it when you make it your own. Remember my suggestion. If you change the thickness of the lines, it makes it more interesting. I made this border thicker right here. I put a flower. Some of them have 2 leaves, some of them have 1. Some of them are going off the page. This is complicated because I added to it, but it still started off with 1 circle, 2 circles, arms and legs. He stayed in the border, except for that hand. This one didn't. He comes out into the border. I really like that. This border is the only one that doesn't have something stuck in it. We have ears up here, we have feet here, we have 1 foot here, and there's not one there. But that's okay. If I wanted to make him a long tail, I could bring it over here. But usually a puppy that looks like that has a bobtail or a short tail. Okay.
They look great, Miss Linda.
Any other questions?
Anything from anybody? Okay, and feel free if you do have questions, guys, you can go ahead and send those into us, and we'll try to be in touch with Miss Linda, and she can still maybe answer your questions. We will see her later again this week, so we can even maybe ask them then too. So thank you so much, Miss Linda, for helping us today draw so many things, actually. Borders and puppies and pigs and raccoons. There's so many things. It's been wonderful.
Remember, if you don't have a model, go to your toy box, pull something out, look at it. Now, would you have to try to draw this one very realistic, or could you make it more cartoony? And I saw something online yesterday that was very, very cool. It has to be a sunny day, or you have to have a flashlight. They set their little animals on paper, like this, and shone a light on it, and it made a shadow on the paper, and they traced it and got the shape of the animal. That was really cool.
That's a great idea. That's another great idea. We could maybe do that on a different segment. Maybe we can do that next week. If that's something you guys are interested in, let us know. We'll see if we can put it together for you. Okay, Linda, Miss Linda, anything else?
Oh, I'm kind of out of ideas for today, but remember, short overlapping strokes. Do not go over black water-based marker unless you want it to smear. And draw big!
Definitely some good things to keep in mind. Thank you so much again, Miss Linda. We really appreciate you coming here and taking the time to teach us how to draw those things and some of those really important tips while we're coloring and while we're making and creating. And that goes for everyone. That goes for little kids and adults. Those things will translate no matter how old you are. So I just want to take this time a little bit to talk about tomorrow, a material list for tomorrow, and in terms of today, I want to also remind everybody, please send us your work. Take a photograph of what you've done today. Make sure you include your name and age to us. We'd love to have what you made from today's lesson. And at the end of the week, and eventually when Sam of Bedford is up and running again and open to the public, we're going to roll through some of these photographs of all this work that's being made. So you could be in a museum. You can be up at the museums on this monitor that will be featuring the work that has been made. So don't forget, take a picture of your work, your name, your age, and give it to us. We'd love to see what you're doing. And any suggestions for any future classes? Send them in. I'd love to hear what you want us to do. What project do you want us to work on next? Maybe you select the next project. So send us some suggestions and comments. If you like what you're seeing today, let us know. We'd love to know that you're enjoying your time and that this is helpful and that you're making some fun things. Tomorrow will be paper mache with Mary Pat Bean. So tomorrow's material list, it's a bit of a lengthy one.
You're going to need flour and water. You're going to need a bowl, a whisk, and strips of newspaper. So we're paper macheing. This is going to get a little bit messy. So maybe prepare an area before we live stream tomorrow at 1. And be prepared with some older clothes if they get something spilled on them, like the flour water mixture, that it won't matter. And you might want to have some soap prepared for your sink too, for whenever everything is all finished. So that's on tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Can they use like typing paper or like computer paper?
I think that computer paper type should work.
Construction paper? I don't.
Construction paper should still work. It's going to be a little stiffer. That's why newspapers work so well, is because they're really thin and pliable, and when they get wet, they just immediately melt into whatever form or shape that you have on, so that you're going to put it on. So newspapers are ideal. Typing paper probably will work. You may have to let it soak and absorb, and construction paper, I'd steer clear of the construction paper. Once the forms, whatever you make, is dried, then you can go back in and color it. So construction paper, even though it's colorful, you'll have a chance to do that later on.
Packing paper from your Amazon boxes.
Packing paper from Amazon boxes might work really well too. That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Linda. So that is for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll be at Pigeon Hill Studio. Don't forget to tune in and let us know what you think. Please give us some feedback on how these classes are working for you guys. If you know of anything or know of anyone that has a suggestion, I'm happy to hear it, and possibly you could be doing or selecting the next class that we host. So like us on Facebook, spread the word. Anybody else who's interested in possibly crafting with us for this hour, this craft hour, we'd be happy to have them. Thank you so much, and I just want to end with Bob Ross says, "Isn't that fantastic? I knew you could do it."